The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome everyone. My name is Aubrey McLaughlin. I'm the Associate Director of Events and Professional Programs for the University of Maryland Alumni Association. We're excited you're able to join us for today's webinar, 3 Financial Planning Strategies for Women, presented by Veronica Fuentes and DeVaughn Hodge. This webinar is part of the Alumni Association's Professional Development webinar series, in which we hope to provide thought-provoking and valuable content that will help alumni like you achieve your personal and professional goals. We have a lot of information to cover today, but we will be taking questions at the end of the webinar. Please feel free to submit any questions you have using the question box that's located in the GoToWebinar control panel. And now a little bit about our hosts. Veronica Fuentes is born and raised in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and graduated from the University of Maryland with a Bachelor's in Finance in 2012. In her short career of 7 years, Veronica has built a reputation as one of the nation's leading Latina Certified Financial Planners. Her DC-based practice, in partnership with DeVaughn Hodge, serves over 400 clients across the country, working with successful clients and entrepreneurs. Clients are provided with the financial tools and guidance they need to help make their visions a reality. When not working in the big city of DC, you can catch Veronica at the pool or at the beach, which is very timely this time of year. DeVaughn Hodge, originally from Brooklyn, New York, is an esteemed financial advisor that has been serving in the DC metropolitan area since 2014. Mr. Hodge began his partnership with Northwestern Mutual as a college intern while completing his undergraduate degree at Howard University. After graduation, DeVaughn continued his practice as a full-time financial advisor, specializing in comprehensive planning, from risk management to investments and wealth preservation and distribution. In his free time, he enjoys working out and coaching youth basketball. And now we'll get started. Veronica and DeVaughn, take it away.
Thank you, Aubrey. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are very excited to be covering this important topic, as a majority of our clients are actually women, and we have a lot of experience in this space. As Aubrey mentioned, I'm Veronica Fuentes, Certified Financial Planner, and here with me is my co-financial advisor, DeVaughn Hodge.
Okay, I like to get us started today by asking a question. When you think about your current financial situation and your goals for the future, what are the kinds of things that you worry about? Our goal today is to help you see how you can put some of your worries to rest when you take time to plan for your financial future. Now, if you don't currently have a plan to reach a financial goal, you're in good company. Here at Northwestern Mutual, we conducted a study, and of the people that we interviewed, more than 6 in 10 said that they feel that they are too busy to think about their long-term goals. So it's very common to feel consumed by your day-to-day responsibilities or even overwhelmed by the thought of taking on the additional job of planning for your financial future. That's why it's a real testament that you are here today. Clearly, you're making time for your financial planning. So here's what we're going to cover for today. First, why is it so important for women in particular to plan for their financial future? Second, what's involved in financial planning? We're going to focus on 3 key strategies. And lastly, finally, we'll cover some small steps that you can take now that can help put you on a path to achieving your goals and taking control of your financial future.
Okay, so let's start with why plan. Having a financial plan is the first and most critical step you can take to make your dreams for the future a reality. That's true for everyone, but it's particularly more important for women. Why? Because generally speaking, women live longer than men. A woman who turns 65 today has a 50% chance of living to the age of 90. And while most women probably view living longer as a positive, longevity also presents a distinct set of challenges for women as they plan for their financial future. As a woman, you're likely to live longer, so there's a greater potential for declining health in your later years, which puts you at a risk for needing long-term care in the future. In addition, you may need to fund 30 or more years in retirement, which puts you at a greater risk of outliving your income. At the same time, you may have fewer resources to work with compared to men. On average, women still earn less than men. According to the White House, working women earn just 83 cents for every dollar earned by men. So as a result, you may be putting less away in your 401ks, for example, than your male colleagues. You may also have chosen or might choose in the future to put your career on hold to raise children or care for a loved one. And that may have implications to both the amount you're able to save and the amount of Social Security benefits you're ultimately eligible for, because that's based on your earnings over time. On one hand, you're living longer, which is great, more time to spend with the people you love, doing the things you love to do. On the other hand, longevity brings challenges, which is why women need to be even more adamant than men when it comes to understanding their financial picture, planning for their financial future, and being vigilant about staying on track. And you need to take responsibility for it. Even if you're married, don't delegate this responsibility solely to your spouse. First, men tend to underestimate their longevity and the resources needed to support a lengthy retirement. And secondly, if you should get divorced or outlive your spouse, you ultimately need to handle your financial life on your own. So you've got to develop a strong relationship with your advisor, create a plan, understand the details, and actively participate in managing it. So what's involved in financial planning? And how can you create a more secure financial future for yourself and your loved ones? As we begin our discussion, I'd like you to keep two things in mind. First, financial planning isn't one size fits all. Your goals for your future are unique. You may envision a house full of kids or grandchildren, a vacation home in the mountains, a meaningful career, a business of your own, or a well-deserved retirement with the resources to enjoy the life you envision. Whatever you imagine for yourself and your family needs to be reflected in a plan that's personalized so you can bring your unique vision to life. The second key is financial planning. And financial planning is not a one-time event. Over time, your financial circumstances and priorities are going to change, and your financial plan needs to evolve and align with those changes so you can meet each of life's challenges head on and celebrate your accomplishments along the way.
Now, what's involved in creating a financial plan? There are three things that you need to know. First is to protect yourself against unexpected events by managing risk. Second, save and invest for your future goals. And third, preserve what you're working so hard to achieve. Now, all three of these aspects of financial planning are needed to create a lifetime of financial security. Now, let's take a look at them one at a time. We'll start with risk management. This is the first step in creating your financial plan. Now, what do I mean by risk management? Risk management is protecting your ability to reach your goals against things that are beyond your control, like experiencing an accident or injury, or being diagnosed with an illness, or in the worst case, dying too soon. These are not the kinds of things that any of us typically like to think about on a day-to-day basis, but managing risk is one of the most important aspects of financial planning. An important first step you can take to managing risk is to set up an emergency fund. If you don't have one, start one. Life is unpredictable, so you need a short-term safety net. Because no matter how carefully you plan for your finances, there will always be unexpected expenses. Now, the general rule of thumb that you should keep is an equivalent of 6 months worth of your living expenses in an account that you can easily access. By having a bit of a cushion when you need it, you can spare yourself the added expense of financing an emergency using a high-interest credit card or by dipping into your retirement savings. Next, take steps to pay down debt. Most people have some type of debt in their monthly budget, perhaps a student loan, mortgage, or car payment, or even credit cards. But when we have debt, we open ourselves up to risk. So establish a financial plan that includes setting deadlines for yourself to pay off your debt, especially debt with high interest rates. And based on your payoff plan, develop a realistic budget and stick to it. Identify your essential or must-have expenses and your discretionary or nice-to-have expenses. Paying down debt and establishing an emergency fund. These are two of the most important fundamentals of any plan to managing risk. Beyond those two steps, let's talk about the bigger picture of managing risk. Now, what do you consider your most valuable asset? Most people will answer this question by saying that their most valuable asset is their home, or perhaps their car, or even their investments. And yet, when we think about it, none of those things are even possible without our ability to generate income. Now, your ability to earn an income is your most valuable asset, so don't risk losing it. In reality, 1 in 4 employees will be disabled for 3 months or more during their career. Now let's face it, the life you're creating for yourself is based on your current earnings and what you expect it to be in the future. Now, if you lose that earning power, what happens to your lifestyle? And what does that mean for your goals in the future? You need to protect yourself and your ability to generate that income. Obviously, this is a critical step if you're single, divorced, or widowed, or even if you're the main breadwinner in your household. And if you're an entrepreneur, losing your income could be detrimental to your business. So what's involved in protecting your income? There are 3 basic threats to our long-term ability to earn income. And that's disability, a long-term care event, and death. Now, most people think something catastrophic needs to happen in order to take advantage of a disability income insurance policy. But the reality is that some of the major causes of disabilities are heart attacks, strokes, cancer, or even back problems, and pregnancy complications. And these are all relatively common occurrences. Now, some of you may have group disability insurance through your employer, and that's great, but most group plans have some sort of cap, usually about 60% of your income, which means that in the event of a disability, you would take a 40% pay cut. Now, think about how this might impact your lifestyle and your ability to reach your goals. Plus, because group disability is employer paid, your benefit will be taxable. Many people think that when they are disabled, their expenses will go down, but most often, this is not the case. So to fully protect yourself and your ability to earn an income, you may want to consider a supplemental individual disability policy. The bottom line is this: we insure our cars, our homes, and our phones against unforeseen events. So why not insure your income?
In addition to protecting our ability to earn an income, risk management also includes consideration of long-term care. The Institute of Aging did a study that showed over 75% of caregivers are women. In another study by the National Alliance for Caregiving, NAARP, 61% of working caregivers reported their jobs were impacted by their caregiving. In the US, the typical family caregiver is a 49-year-old woman who is married, has a job, and spends an average of 20 hours per week providing care for a loved one. This could be you someday, or maybe it's many of you today. That's why it's so important to talk to your parents to find out how they are protecting their financial future and yours when it comes to long-term care needs. Here are a few questions that you could start with when talking to your parents. Are their primary and contingent beneficiaries current? Do they have a plan for their long-term care? Are their accounts in joint name? And if so, which ones? Should you or a sibling both consider paying for their long-term care insurance? Now let's think about the likelihood that you might need long-term care. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, if you live beyond the age of 65, there's a 70% chance you'll have some type of need for long-term care. And unfortunately, if you were to find yourself in either situation as the one who needs care or as someone who might provide care, if you haven't planned for that, there aren't a lot of good options. Extended long-term care is not covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or most private health insurance plans, which means caregiving often falls to the family. And that can quickly take its toll emotionally, physically, and financially. So think about planning for your own long-term care as you develop your financial plan. The third significant threat to your long-term ability to earn an income is death. Death is inevitable, so most people appropriately purchase life insurance to protect the financial welfare of those who depend on them. But how much life insurance do you need? As with everything else in financial planning, the answer depends on your circumstances and your goals. What would you want to cover if you couldn't be there to financially support your loved ones? Here are a few questions to think about as you think about purchasing life insurance in the future. So 1, do you have a mortgage that you would want to pay off? 2, is sending your children to college still important? Do you expect to support family members in the future? Or do you want to leave a legacy to your children or grandchildren? So what have we covered? Disability, the need for long-term care, and death. 3 unpredictable circumstances you can protect yourself against. Risks that need to be managed so you can protect your ability to reach your goals. Along with managing risk, creating financial security also involves accumulating wealth, savings and investing for your future goals, which brings us to the second strategy. Wealth accumulation is the second step in creating a financial plan, and it often means different things to different people. But here, the goal is to make the most of your money by making investment decisions that are right for you, that help you achieve your goals. Choosing how to invest your money is one of the most important financial planning decisions you make and has a huge impact on your ability to achieve your goals, particularly the significant long-term goals like saving for retirement, or if you have children, saving for their education. No matter what stage of life you're currently in, one thing is certain. Funding retirement is far different today than it was for your parents or your grandparents' generations. Today, you're responsible for creating your own paycheck in retirement. It's your responsibility to participate in defined contribution plans like 401ks, contribute to IRAs, and make other long-term investments to fund what could be a retirement that lasts 30 years or longer. If you have children and want to set college savings goals, you need to start with an idea of cost. Here are the most recent statistics from the College Board. Tuition, fees, and room and board currently average $20,770 per year for a public 4-year in-state school. And we know private or out-of-state school can cost even more. So as you plan how you want to handle the college cost, I find that many people are not aware of the fact that you can gift your child's tuition costs directly to the university when you pass away to avoid gifting limits. You can gift on behalf of anyone as much as you wish, estate tax-free. It may be something to consider as part of your larger plan. So whether you're saving for retirement, college, a vacation home, or any other long-term goal, the challenge is to invest your money in a way that gives you the greatest chance of achieving your goal. How do you accomplish this? Start by asking yourself a very few specific questions, such as the ones seen on the screen. So for example, do you have the stomach to watch your balances go up and down as the market fluctuates? And if you could increase the opportunity to improve your returns by investing in riskier assets, would you take on more risk? This is called your risk tolerance. And particularly as you think about retirement, you want to be drawing from multiple sources of income in a way that allows you to minimize taxes and maximize income. Once you've answered these questions, you'll have a better sense of what you have, what you need, and when you'll need it. By understanding that, you'll have a greater level of confidence in evaluating and taking specific investment actions, such as deciding where to invest. Historically, each of these asset classes has responded differently to economic activity and market trends. Sometimes stock returns may be up while bond returns are down, and vice versa. But if your portfolio includes a variety of these asset classes, the offsetting movements can help to reduce overall portfolio risk. The process of dividing your investment portfolio among these various asset classes is called asset allocation. Generally speaking, you want a mix of asset classes, but the proportion, how much in each of stocks, bonds, and other options, will depend on a number of factors, including the amount of risk you're willing to take. Every investor has to weigh his or her own tolerance for risk versus potential reward. And the goal of asset allocation is to combine investments in ways that will allow you to achieve the best possible return given the level of risk you're willing to accept.
Now, the third building block in a solid financial plan is a plan for wealth preservation and distribution. Here, your goal is to protect and preserve what you're working so hard to achieve. Now, remember, women typically live longer than men, so you need to take it upon yourself to understand how your finances will work in retirement. Start by developing and understanding the features and benefits of the most common retirement savings vehicles, such as annuities, investments, IRAs, and Roth IRAs. Each of these is an asset that can be converted into income in retirement to fund your legacy. Another strategy that is not often thought about is permanent life insurance. Its cash value can be used to help supplement retirement income, or you can use that to fund your legacy as well. As you approach retirement, you'll want to consider strategies to turn these assets into a stream of income in a way that minimizes taxes and maximizes your income stream. We have some very sophisticated tools these days that can test your plan against thousands of different scenarios to create up to a 90% probability that your retirement income will last. This way, you can be more confident in your ability to live the life that you envision for yourself in retirement. One other aspect of wealth preservation and distribution is estate planning. Now, you don't have to be old or wealthy or famous to benefit from an estate plan. In general, estate planning is about getting the right things to the right people at the right time in the right way. But it's not just about who gets your money when you're gone. Estate planning allows you to maintain control when you're no longer able to make decisions about your assets, yes, but also about your health, the welfare of your kids, and the end of your life. With an estate plan, your wishes will be known and honored, giving you and your loved ones a peace of mind. It's never too soon to be thinking about planning for your estate. If you don't already have one, establishing a power of attorney for healthcare in case something happens to you and you can't make healthcare decisions for yourself. If you have children, make sure they take this step too as soon as they are legal adults. If you're married, you should have a will along with those powers of attorney. And if you have children, appoint a guardian in case something happens to you. This needs to be more than your wishes written on a paper napkin. In fact, most states don't even recognize a handwritten note, even if it is notarized. If you are remarried and have children from a previous marriage, you want to make sure that your estate planning documents are up to date and that your wishes for your children are still what you desire them to be. And if it's important to you to leave money to your children, a charity, or perhaps your alma mater, you'll want to start thinking early about how to incorporate those gifts into your estate plan. You'll also want to think about how to fund your legacy, which is one of the reasons why estate planning and financial planning are so intertwined. For example, if you have permanent life insurance as part of your financial plan to manage risk, the cash value of that policy or the proceeds from that policy can be used to fund charitable giving or your legacy. Estate planning not only helps to ensure that your wishes will ultimately be honored, it eliminates the friction and tension that can sometimes happen when assets are being distributed upon someone's death. When it comes to maintaining a family harmony, your gift of a plan is just as important as your gift of money. So, in summary, the three aspects of financial planning that create a solid foundation are risk management, wealth accumulation, and wealth preservation and distribution. By addressing all three of these aspects of financial planning, you'll be well on your way to creating a lifetime of financial security. And if you decide to work with a financial planner like Veronica or myself, we'll take you through a personalized planning process that will help build your plan.
So now what? How do you start to make this happen? My advice to you is this: find yourself a financial advisor who can help you navigate your financial planning journey. And it is a journey. You just can't create a plan and stick it on a shelf. It's essential that you revisit it over time and update it as your circumstances and your priorities change. I know from my own experience that even the brightest, most independent women I meet often seem hesitant to work with a financial advisor because they don't know where to start or what to expect. So I want to share with you 6 things I think may make taking the next step a little easier. Number 1, look for more than investment advice. People often confuse investment advice with financial advice. An investment advisor specializes in managing your investable assets. A financial advisor will take a broader look across every aspect of your financial life, to include savings, managing debt and risk, investing, taxes, and estate planning, etc. Number 2, know what you can expect. In addition to helping you develop a comprehensive plan to reach your goals, a financial advisor will also help you implement your plan so it doesn't just become a written document that accumulates dust on a shelf. But perhaps the most important thing you should expect from a financial advisor is this: a commitment. Greater financial advisors will meet with you regularly to make sure you're on track to reach your goals and help you adjust your plan as your priorities change throughout your life. Number 3, do your homework. Once you know what to look for, ask trusted friends, family members, or colleagues for recommendations to financial advisors, and then schedule a meeting. Typically, there's no obligation for you or for the advisor in an initial meeting. It's more like a get-to-know-you session to see if you're a good fit for each other. And don't be shy to ask questions. That's generally an area where women excel. Use that to your advantage. Ask about the advisor's areas of expertise, how he or she works with clients, and how they get paid. Number 4, insist on quality. Make sure your financial advisor has the proper credentials, such as Certified Financial Planner certification or Chartered Financial Consultant designation. Do your homework on the company and who he or she represents too. After all, your financial plan and your financial advisor should be with you for life. So you want to make sure he or she is supported by a firm that has a strong history and excellent financial strength ratings from organizations such as Moody's Investors Service, AM Best Company, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch. Number 5, it's a partnership. I've seen many people derail their financial plans by spontaneously buying something, like a new car, that wasn't in their budget. So as you consider making large purchases or other important financial decisions, talk with your advisor. You'll feel better about your choices if you know that the decisions you make today won't put your financial goals for the future at risk. And finally, number 6. We are all so busy every day and focused on putting others first that we rarely take the time to stop to think about ourselves. It's not a matter of not understanding financial concepts, but taking the time to map out a plan for ourselves seems to always fall to the bottom of the list. However, when you take the time now to take care of yourself, you are actually helping those you care about too. And clearly, by taking time to be here today, you've demonstrated this is a priority and taken the first step on your own financial security journey. So let's open it up for questions now.
Great. Thank you guys so much. As Veronica mentioned, we're going to go ahead and take some time for questions. If you do have a question, we'll make sure to give you guys a couple of minutes to type those out. You have a question box that is located in the GoToWebinar control panel on your dashboard. So feel free to utilize that. And then, Veronica, I just have a quick question to get us started here. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between maybe a financial planner versus a financial advisor?
Yeah, so one of the biggest difference between financial planners and financial advisors, one is just the knowledge piece. Getting your certified financial planning designation is a very rigorous and time-consuming process, and it's a very difficult test you have to pass. But most importantly, a CFP, someone who has a CFP designation, acts as a fiduciary for their clients, meaning they always have to act in the best interest for their clients. And believe it or not, someone who doesn't have that designation technically doesn't have to act in their client's best interest. So you could be a financial advisor and you're expected to act in your client's best interest, but you're not legally liable to, if that makes sense.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yep.
We have a question about money market accounts. So this person has had a lot of talk about opening up a money market account, like instead of letting their money sit in a bank account. So can you describe more about maybe what that is and where to start to open one or think about one?
Yep. So a money market account is just very much like a savings account. The only difference is money markets typically require a higher minimum balance that you maintain in that savings account. And in turn, the bank or the institution will pay you a higher interest rate than just a regular savings account. So for example, where a savings account might be paying you 0.4% per year, a money market might require that you maintain maybe a minimum of $10,000 in your savings in your money market at all times. But in turn, they will pay you 1% interest per year on your savings. So I would first start with the institution that you bank with. So a lot of this information you can find online on the bank's website. So if you just Google your bank's name or any type of bank, you can go to their financial products. You can drop down to savings products, and then you'll find money markets. And then most of their interest rates are listed on their website. So you can compare banks, because every bank offers a different interest rate on their savings accounts and money market accounts. And that's where I would start. I would just do some research, Google some banks that, one, maybe you already have accounts with, or two, that you might be interested in banking with. I would also look at your credit union if you're affiliated with a credit union. And there's also some great online banks that actually are paying very nice interest rates on savings accounts and money market accounts. I know Ally is an example of one bank online, but it's not, you know, there's pros and cons to that. Just keep in mind that if you have an online bank, then you're not going to have that brick and mortar, you know, storefront that you could walk into and do your banking. It's all going to be done online.
Thank you. What about certificate of deposits? Are these a better option between a savings account and a money market account? I guess, what are certificate of deposits for those who don't know? Let's start there.
Yep. So certificates of deposits are, again, kind of very much like a savings account. You pick an amount that you want to basically lock up. So a certificate of deposit has different maturity dates. You can have a CD for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But basically your money is locked up for that time period. So one thing you have to keep in mind is, do you need this money in this specific time period, or how long are you willing to lock up these dollars for? And what is the interest rate they're going to pay you in return? If you do find yourself needing the money, just know that most CDs, if you take money out before the maturity date, you will pay a fee to take your money out. So it's good to keep some liquid cash for in the event of emergencies, and just like a regular savings account or money market. And then for maybe some dollars that you don't plan to use for a while, that might be more beneficial to put into a CD. But just like comparing savings accounts and money market accounts and the interest rates they pay, the interest rates for CDs are also online on a bank's website. So I would also compare interest rates.
Great, thank you. This next question is maybe more for those of us who are maybe single or are new and kind of just getting started in terms of financial management and financial planning, who maybe aren't quite sure what their goals are. Can you talk a little bit about maybe what kind of initial steps they should take to help them with goal setting and figuring out maybe how to get out of debt, or how to kind of start to build their wealth, as opposed to maybe the longer term goal of estate planning and things like that?
Yeah, so one of the most important steps for someone who's single, maybe just getting started, one is have a budget. So know what's coming in to your household and know what's going out. And that's for fixed expenses and discretionary expenses. Once you write down what your fixed expenses are and what your discretionary expenses are, you can see if you have a surplus at the end of the month, where maybe you can dedicate some more dollars to paying down debt quicker, or to get more aggressive with your monthly saving strategy if you're saving for a particular goal. But I would first start with a budget and then look at what are maybe some of your more short-term goals. So what are some of your goals in the next year or in the next 3 years, and work towards that.
Great, thank you. We have another question regarding, so this person currently invests monthly in her 401k through work, and it's taken directly out of her paycheck. She also has a Roth IRA that she doesn't contribute to as regularly. But do you have a suggestion for a good strategy for setting monthly goals or investing more regularly into some of these plans?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. And of course, it varies for everybody. Everybody's, savings goals, what they want for retirement is going to look different. So, but in general, you want to be saving 20% a month of your take home for goals. With 401ks, absolutely from the beginning, you should be contributing as much as your employer matches. So if your employer says we'll match up to 6%, then you definitely should be starting at 6% because that's just money that you're leaving on the table. So make sure, one, you're maximizing your 401k match. Roth IRAs are awesome vehicles for people who are eligible to use them. And I would definitely try to maximize the annual contributions that you can make there. So for 2019, you could put up to $6,000 into your Roth IRA. So I would definitely try to do that. But also, a lot of employers now are offering Roth 401ks. So I would look into to see if your employer has a Roth 401k. And if they do, then you can actually split up your contributions. So for example, if they say we'll match up to 6%, you can put 3% into the traditional 401k and then 3% to the 401k. But on a monthly basis, as far as your own cash savings, if you're working towards building your emergency fund or some kind of goal in the near future, I would say take whatever you take home on a monthly basis after taxes and after all the deductions are taken out of your paycheck, take that monthly income number times 20%, and that's ultimately what you want to be putting in a savings account. Now, if you have debt that you're working on paying down, then at a minimum, you want to be saving 10% of your monthly take home to a savings account. Is that helpful?
Definitely. Thank you very much. It looks like we've covered all of our questions that we have so far. I'll give it just another final minute here in case there's any late questions from other attendees. But Veronica and DeVaughn, is there anything else that you want to cover or speak to before we wrap up here today?
I think that's about it. Are we missing anything?
I think we touched on the major points.
Perfect. We had one final question that just popped in here, so I want to make sure to get that one in. Where do you suggest keeping an emergency fund? Is a bank account a good place, or is there another avenue or venue that would be better suited for something like that?
I definitely think with your bank is totally fine. Just any type of liquid account that you can access in the event of emergency is totally fine. So it could be a savings account or a money market. Those two accounts are very liquid and can earn you at least some interest. Interest rates are still not that great, but they're slowly coming back up rather than putting it under your mattress where you're not going to get any interest. So I would definitely say just a regular savings or money market account at your bank is fine.
Great. Thank you so much. Just as a reminder, Veronica and DeVaughn have shared their contact information up on the screen here. Please feel free to contact them with any follow-up questions that you have. If you'd like to discuss your own personal situation more one-on-one, they are more than happy to do that. I'll also be sending a follow-up email from today that will have their contact information in it, as well as a recording from today's session, so you can refer back to it at any time that you'd like. At this point, I want to to just thank Veronica and DeVaughn so much for hosting today's session. I'd like to thank everybody for attending for today. Have a wonderful rest of the day and go Terps. Thanks for joining, everyone. Bye.